Hey, what's going on, everybody? Media44 here with another video. Having some real issues with his phone for whatever reason. I think I need to clear the cache or something. But yeah, I want to make a video about the Los Angeles Lakers since they have a very important two game stretch ahead. Made a video and then it cut off like the last video did. So I cleared up some space and accidentally deleted all the videos. So everything I just made all day long is pretty much gone. But it's okay because we're just gonna keep going forward. And what we have here is the Lakers with a very important two-game schedule, as I said, with the Memphis Grizzlies and the Oklahoma City Thunder on the road coming up this week, and it's going to be a back-to-back. So what you are looking for is for the Los Angeles Lakers to essentially carry over the same defensive momentum that they had from the last game without being disappointed if they have any setbacks, because this is a much better Memphis Grizzly team than we saw against the Boston Celtics team that was lacking Jaylen Brown. So some of the defensive energy that we put forth that allowed us to be very effective defensively may not necessarily work against them the same way. We saw them lay the hammer down in historic fashion against this very same Oklahoma City team that we will be seeing the very next day. In a way that, in my opinion, if they would have saw any team in the league, including us, they would have beat them that day. They just so happened to be running into a very bad, undermanned Oklahoma City team without their two best players. So at the end of the day, this is a very compelling two-game stretch because of it, because we have to see how we measure ourselves against these two teams who basically had that historic game against one another, of which the team that lost has beaten us twice this season. And as you know, of course, Russell Westbrook, that's his home. OKC, that's his team. So for us to have lost to them twice, that's a big deal. And for him to be returning back to that building is always going to be a big deal. So this is going to be a very important win. He hasn't had any success against his old team since becoming a Laker, and that's unacceptable to us. So in my mind, we're going to come into this game, or to this two-game stretch rather, with this sense of urgency to win them both. And I think that's going to be what we do. Now, granted, it is a back-to-back, and we do have older players, so you don't know how that's going to affect them physically. But mentally, I expect us to be ready, and I expect us to be rolling. Now, the Memphis Grizzlies are a team, and I've mentioned this already once today, but since the video deleted, who cares? Let's talk about it again. But the Memphis Grizzlies are a team that you have to respect because they are a team that has homegrown all of their own players. And in doing so, they've effectively found a way to have that next man up mentality work for them no matter who's down there at all times. They go super deep. They've developed each and every one of their players to be specifically who they are, running a system that they're comfortable with. And with that team being together over time, I think that the opportunity for them to be great one day is there, even if it's not necessarily with all of the players that they have right now, because they have this system and because they have this scouting system in place as well. I think that they could potentially one day find themselves with an opportunity to be great, a dynasty even. They could have opportunities for something like that to come their way based on what it is they're positioning themselves to be. So I look at that team as a very serious franchise, one of the better franchises in all of basketball right now. And I'm definitely singing their praises as it pertains to taking them seriously, even without Ja Morant, because of it. You think about a guy like Desmond Bane, who's recently fallen off a cliff, so to speak. He's back. That young fella is back to playing very well. And you're going to have to respect the fact that he's going to be down there attacking you. Brooks is now down there. That's somebody who's been out for the beginning of the season with his injury. He's working himself back into the equation. He's healthy, and I expect him to go off against us because he tends to do that. Very aggressive player who's going to continue to attack your paint. He lays the ball up repeatedly like Russell Westbrook, and I expect him and Russ to go back and forth in what I think could be a fast-paced basketball game for us as an older team playing a back-to-back. That could be a little crazy. So if we're smart, we'll play a lot of youth, and we'll respect that the size is going to be important. You cannot expect to have any success against Jaren Jackson Jr. on the boards if you don't play Dwight Howard. So that's going to be very important for us to just, swallow our pride and play the bigs in this particular matchup. Because if you think you're going to have any success against Steven Adams and Jaren Jackson, without bigs, you think LeBron James and Anthony Davis about to run center against them, they may not even make it healthy out that game to do that. I'm just being honest. They might not even make it out of the game. So I don't want them banging up against them two dudes. That is not a recipe for success for LA in this game. We have to respect the size differential there, and we're going to have to respect those matchups. So that's one of the most important things about that particular matchup. So, Russell Westbrook has been aggressive, particularly coming out of the third quarter, particularly driving into the paint repeatedly, being a layup king. That's a recipe for success for the Lakers. If he continues to do that, we're going to always score a lot of points in the paint. So that type of attacking is key, absolutely and utterly key. If we cut down on our three-point shots and respect quality possessions, that is going to be the theme for me in regards to this team. You must respect your possessions. Stop with the quick early three-point shots. LeBron and THT, y'all infamous for that. Please stop doing that. It doesn't help us. Those are plays that are lost. Those are plays that are not effectively rebounded a lot of times, and sometimes they turn into fast breaks for the other team. They're just lost possessions. We need to respect our possessions more so, because quite frankly, we're going to turn the ball over. Russell Westbrook's going to have fumble turnovers. LeBron James is going to have turnovers when he passes the rock as much as he does. We're going to have to take that into account and respect our possessions accordingly, which means we're not the type of team that can take bad shots. We're not the type of team that can punt the rebounding category. We can't do it. We're not good enough defensively to do these things. And even though we had some success in the previous game defensively, as I said, Memphis is not the type of team that's going to make some of the mistakes that Boston did. I don't think they're going to shoot as poorly from the three as Boston did, especially at home. So I know how important Ja Morant is. He's a major piece. You would expect that the Lakers would come in there and get a victory against this team without him. But as I said, Memphis is not the type of team where that is the case. Memphis is the type of team where the next guy up is going to probably do just as good as the other guy. DeAnthony Melton is a starting point guard in this league, in my opinion. He's a starting guy. And he's playing behind Ja Morant because that's just the role he has to play. But if he had a starting role, he would play it well. I look at him as like a up-and-coming Spencer Dinwiddie type of guy. He's coming. So, you know he's going to play well. He's going to against us, and that's something we need to be aware of as well. They have some sneaky good guard play out of their guys. So, Brandon Clark has been playing very, very well lately from what I understand. He's had his struggles to start this career, but they love him there, and he's great for what it is they want him to do. So if he's starting to heat up, look for him to play well. And, Jaren Jackson Jr. is a star. He's a guy who's had a lot of injury issues. He hasn't yet to fully develop, but I look at him as a guy who can very well step into an all-star level of himself within the next year or two. He can get there. He blocks shots with ease. He can run the floor very well. He shoots the ball very well, but he's not afraid to bang. So the potential is very much there. The role is very much there. And so, I expect for him to have a big game as well. Against Anthony Davis, that's going to be a matchup he's going to be wide awake for. Anthony Davis has kind of been struggling. He's going to be physical with Anthony. That's going to happen. As bad as Anthony Davis looked against Time Lord, he's going to look even worse against Jaren and Steven. So be ready for that. Steven Adams is a very physical player. He sets some hard screens. He's going to put his elbows and his hip. You're going to feel him. Just, that. So like I said, the important thing for us is to not go small. I know it's tempting for Coach Vogel because he hates our centers. Nobody blames him, but you have to not do that. I don't blame you for not liking those guys down there because they're not as productive as we need them to be. But that's on Rob. We talked to Rob about that. Right now, we just got to play what we have. And right now, going up against this team, that's going to be the thing. Now, as far as the Oklahoma City Thunder game, you just don't want to get embarrassed in that game, man. Honestly, it's a second of a back-to-back on the road. So you're going to be tired. You're going to have sluggish legs. You're probably going to haven't played probably an overtime game with Memphis or something like that. So, it's a trap game, man. We have had many, many trap games against this stupid team to start the season. It's our third matchup. They beat us twice. And, they just got blown out by the team that we're going to see the night before. That Memphis team beat them by 73 points. That's the most the points differential you've ever seen or ever heard of in a basketball game for the NBA. So you got to understand that losing to them is unacceptable on any level. But now that they've lost that game, you lose to them now and head to a roll. So I'm telling you, Frank Vogel, this is a very important road stretch of 2 games for him, because he's going to be the guy that gets blamed for what happens if this doesn't plan out for us, especially if the Lakers drop both of these games. You can't drop both. You can drop the second one. No, the first one, not the second one. You must beat Oklahoma City Thunder. So that's what I'm saying. Like, at the end of the day, you must not lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Losing to Memphis without John Moran is ridiculous when you're playing well. But I can accept it. But that Thunder game, you ain't gonna never hear the end of that. Y'all lose to that. You lose that game, you never hear the end of it. Drop 3 games against a Thunder when we don't even know if SGA is coming back anytime soon. I don't know what's going on there. Giddey's out. I don't know if Giddey's back or not by now, but no. So if you want to check out the Memphis Grizzlies, I did see that they are going to be playing the Dallas Mavericks tonight. I'll be checking them out from afar, see how they look, see what I can expect from them on Thursday. Don't know who the Thunder are playing, not certain, but I don't expect for them to get blown up by 73 anytime soon. So, it's all uphill from there for them. And look, man, the Thunder are not in a bad spot themselves. I like that they have a lot of picks. I like the fact that they have Giddey and SGA and Dort and Baisley and all these different young players that are pretty good. They could use a superstar, definitely. They could definitely use a quick, super duper talented player to come in and just make it all come together and make them a playoff team. But for now, their rebuild looks like it's going okay. I think they could shuffle a few of the players around, as I said in the previous video, after losing by 73. But all in all, they do have a nice guard core that makes me feel pretty optimistic that they'll be able to do some good things for themselves with the picks that they've hoarded, which we know are ridiculous. So, Sam Presti is on the clock with a lot of people. I think he's done a good job of getting the picks. Yeah, I got to turn him into something. And, getting blown out by 73 does have some people looking at you crazy, too. So, that's one of those situations where I'm just like, it's a young team. Even though it's unprecedented that it got blown out by 73, when you really look at what they were missing, you understand that they just did not have a talented basketball team on the floor, and they were going up against a team that could just honestly beat anybody that day. They had to beat the 83 Boston Celtics that they just shot that day, shot the ball against them that well, like seriously. So hopefully Memphis doesn't do that to us on Thursday. Hopefully Oklahoma City, hopefully we go in there and get an early, easy victory there so we can sit our starters on the second game of that back-to-back. I don't even want LeBron to play that game, low-key. I'm going to be honest. I want us to sit him for that Oklahoma City game, and I still think we should very much win it. But back-to-backs become tricky for me because I know that when LeBron says he's best when he plays more, you got to trust him. But at the same time, it's like you're entering uncharted territory once you start getting up in 37, 38 range. Some of the stuff that used to be able to be strengths for you start turning into weaknesses as it pertains to your body. What you used to know, it starts to become different now. And I'm speaking because I'm his age and I'm going through it. So it's literally like, even like for myself, for example, skin products, certain types of foods, I was able to eat up until maybe 2 years ago. Now it's like, nope. It's like my body never loved that stuff. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe he's used to his body being able to churn, and that's what made it happy. But now as he starts to get older, rest is going to be more valuable, even if it didn't used to be. So that's my opinion. That's what I got to say. I ultimately do believe the Lakers will win both of these games. I think that Frank Vogel needs to win both of these games. Yeah, that's what needs to happen. Previous videos, I mentioned this. I mentioned it now. I think we need to go ahead and bench Avery Bradley. It's a wrap. Love him to death. Thank you for your contributions. What a great career. But, brother, not give me nothing. Nothing. The jump shot is gone. The foot speed is gone. The defensive IQ is still there, so you obviously want him on your team to help, with the schemes and everything defensively. But as far as him being able to execute, no, I need those to be the younger bodies. So hopefully we can get Kendrick back, play Austin more, and let's get some youth out there, man. THT, start playing better, or trade him. I know that's going to start being a conversation now, you guys, because I'm coming to terms with this. I like THT a whole lot, and I definitely still believe in him, but our timeline is different than them, man. And this is turning into a Kuzma situation. The Lakers do not develop players very well right now. Let's just be real. We don't. When players come into this place, they genuinely play a little more stagnant here, and then they leave and they play better. That's just what's going on. It's everywhere. You see it everywhere. So at this point, I have to think the same thing is happening with some of the players that are currently on our squad. They may be a little stagnant, including AD, because of how we are. Just as a whole, the stuff we're running, the way it is, the aura of the Lakers being a very pressurized situation, all of it just makes for guys playing a little less loose here, it seems. And I'm curious to see if the Lakers just kind of look at that and say, you know what, we can't really get the most out of THT. Maybe we should just move him on to the Pacers or somebody, as we talked in the previous video. You know, you're never going to see that because it got deleted. But, you know, whoops, you heard that. Hopefully everything's okay. Hate to hear that. But anyway, yeah, got to get back on point. Prayers out to them. At the end of the day, man, you just want to see the Lakers try to get better. And if THT's timeline versus our timeline is not necessarily on point, then we have to move on and try to get a win now. Pieces can help us. And so that's what I'm trying to convey. I think that THT is definitely going to turn into what I believe he's going to be, which is an all-star, maybe even perennially. But it's going to take about 2 or 3 years for his development. And we're trying to get him to play a role that maybe somebody else should be playing. A guy who's more equipped to be fully developed, who knows himself, who knows how to run a system that we have, and just going to be smarter for us out there. Let THT to have less pressure on his backside to develop. He's already won a championship, so his career doesn't have that looming over it. Now he just needs to become his best self so he can get the biggest bag possible. So I think that's what his goal, personal goal, should be. He's not in a space where he needs to just keep winning. He needs to get somewhere where he can develop so he can start having those championships be credited to him as a star as opposed to a role player. And as long as he's here, that's not going to be the case. So we don't have the right situation for him unless he's playing better. Simple as that. And so I don't like it for him anymore. I just don't. I don't like that for him. Unfortunately, we're an old squad, and we need guys that are just going to help us win. We need youth, but we need developed youth. We need a guy that's a little more like 27, 28, a little more along AD's age range. And that brings me to my next statement. I think the environment's a bit too old for AD. I do think that. I think the environment is too old for Anthony Davis at this time. I think he's surrounded by a bunch of guys that are sitting down, older, more mature. He needs to be around more vibrant people, more vibrant bodies, more vibrant humans, so that he can start feeling more youthful, start jumping around a little bit, having a little more fun. That's what I'm noticing now. I don't think the environment's all that fun for AD because I think everybody around him's old. It's just like, you know, I look at Austin Reeves, I say the same thing. Everybody around these guys are old. So it's like, yeah, they got a couple young players, but the majority of guys they talking to are going home to their families, kid gonna be going to college soon. It's like that environment for AD, in my humble opinion, just doesn't appear to be energetic enough. And that's okay. We just need to bring him that. I do believe that. Now, maybe I'm way off. And if I'm off, cool, great. But we need an infusion of energy that he can directly feed off of somehow. That's what we need to be searching for. So that's something I've been thinking about. How do we light a fire under this dude? Anyway, yeah, man. Yeah. I'm sure Bron is thinking the same thing. AD, people are thinking the same thing. Light a fire under yourself, fam. Stop leaving it to us to try to figure out how to do this. So anyway, yeah, that's what I got, man. I'm going to try to free up some space on my phone so I can continue to yap about. And I thank you guys for checking that out. My name is BDL44. Peace.